My name's Sasha and I've got 3 children. I had them all here in Leeds and I felt really empowered after all of my births. But what would make me feel unsafe is if I felt intimidated or I wasn't able to speak up. That would definitely make me feel more vulnerable.
Totally agree.
I think whatever route you kind of go down, it's just making sure the people around kind of trust and really listen to what you're saying.
Everyone's pregnancies are different, aren't they?
And everyone's birth experience can be different as well. You don't know what you're going to get.
Feeling supported, listened to, valued, I think that's vital to sort of any care that you're receiving. I think what's really important is to be like an active participant in the whole process, because so many people, and particularly when it's like trauma, it's about feeling like birth happened to you, everything happened to you, like you weren't there. And I mean, my birth, I wanted a home birth. My little girl went 17 days over. So it ended up having like an emergency C-section. So in terms of what I wanted, it was completely different, but I'd done my preferences, I've been quite detailed, and I was supported actually by the midwives. You know, everything that they had to do, I knew why they were doing it. I knew that I could say no, but I knew that actually it was for both of us, it was the best.
I am mixed race. My dad is for the Caribbean, Jamaican, and my mum is English. My dad came over with his mum around the Windrush time and came over on one of the Windrush boats. So grew up in a very traditional Caribbean household, very strict with the girls. So we've definitely got a mixture of ethnicities within the family. When you give birth and they come and test your child for like sickle cell and stuff, I did have a conversation with a young lady that was about family coming from back home, and I was like, my family's all here, they came at Windrush, and I said, I don't understand what you mean, but it's like she wasn't listening.
Getting to know your audience, getting to know your patients will naturally make them feel so much more safe.
Yeah, Leeds is, a huge multicultural melting pot, which is beautiful, and with that comes the responsibility of organisations like the NHS to understand the different cultures.
From a perspective of the people that give the care, I always think if people can not just think, okay, this is a person who, maybe is Muslim. So I've had experience with a Muslim female before, and just use that as the blueprint. That Muslim person is still an individual. So having a personalised experience, not just the same template as previous. I don't think anybody necessarily comes to work to go, I'm going to really make that black woman have a really horrible experience today. When people are tired, when people are stretched, naturally you kind of go in an autopilot, and if autopilot is your echo chamber of whiteness, difference becomes an issue, it becomes an obstacle, becomes a barrier. It might be a case of that culture's quite loud, so when she says she's a 10 and she's screaming, she might not really be a 10 and screaming compared to this white person who's a 10 and she's pink. Well, no matter how painful something is to me, I can't go pink, so there's no direct comparison.
In my 4 years of experience, I didn't see a diversity within maternity care, and I understand some people will go for it, some people won't, but you can hire people that can reflect different diverse backgrounds, and that can help give some people ease. Personally, I came from a very mixed background. I grew up in a country where I was introduced to loads of people, different backgrounds, but some people don't get that, and they're used to seeing a certain kind of person in front of them. Having this diversity within the ward and the service can help.
It's also about representation amongst the staff that have the understanding already of different various cultures. I mean, there's so many within Leeds, isn't there?
So diverse.
Yeah, but as much as you can, and obviously they have to be trained to the same standard, but it just really makes that massive difference. Some cultures prefer to have women there, don't they, rather than men, and just bearing all these different things in mind and not kind of making assumptions.
Individuals don't need to be white, male and middle class to succeed or lead a team. People with accents can lead a team. Seeing those different diverse people in senior positions so they can change cultures and change mindsets from the top. I think that's a real, point of improvement, shall we say, where the NHS could do a little bit better.
You you can have mental health issues from the very beginning, like from the moment you conceive, you can have these problems. And I don't think it's talked about enough. I know that sometimes it just takes an extra 5 minutes of saying, are you really okay? My daughter went to hospital because she was dehydrated, because she wasn't getting enough breast milk. I didn't know that, first time mom. I was giving her bottles, but I was also trying to breastfeed. Consultant came in and just snapped at me. That's not good. You know, it's just understanding where the mum is, as well as the medical stuff that has to be done for the child and the mum. I get it, but also understanding mum and her mental state at the time.
My first was emergency C-section at 33 weeks. Being in theatre, absolutely brilliant. Couldn't have faulted it at all. They were just making you comfortable. They made sure you were okay. They made sure your baby was okay, but unfortunately for me, I couldn't have him straight on my chest because he was premature by 7 weeks. With my daughter,
how long did you spend in hospital with your daughter?
6 days. I was a lot more confident in myself going through birth and labour and knowing what I needed to ask and what I didn't need to ask.
I am originally from Malaysia. I am an asylum seeker in this country. You know, for migrant people, the problem that they're scared. We have fear, we have hesitation to trust. Back in my country, when you work with the healthcare, it's just like you don't have a right to ask, you don't have a right to know what we're going to do with you, you just have to go with us. But here, I found everybody is friendly. It's nice to feel like you'll be treated like a human.
Because we are in Leeds, we are lucky to have Hamla midwife who very aware about migrant people. The personalized care in maternity should be worldwide spread all over. Yes. We are foreigner in this country. We don't have anyone, so we don't have relative, our mom who used to take care of us. So this midwife can so-called as a mom as well.
Hamla team is like a specialist team. If there's a possibility that they could give a workshop to everyone else, because sometimes we might be angry and blame them, but then they are not trained on that speciality.
I was actually consultant-led from the beginning. I only met a community midwife once, and until I met the consultant, I feel like it was quite a negative experience because it was a different person every time. And then once I met the consultant, he actually listened. Meeting the consultant, I was definitely nervous, especially with it being a male and me having long-term health conditions. I knew it was going to be a difficult pregnancy and childbirth anyway. So it was nice to walk into the room and everything was at ease and it wasn't a rush. My partner actually said to me he's never spent that long sitting with a doctor. Your opinion mattered, it didn't just get brushed off. And it did change you from being nervous every appointment to understanding why they're doing everything they're doing to you and they're prodding and poking you all day long.
I think I had the most brilliant midwife ever, I could ever ask for. I wish she could be my best friend. She was lovely, you know. Whenever I knew that maybe next week she's coming, I always looked forward for it. She was like, you know, when you are happy that your mom is coming, if your mom had gone away, it was the same feeling that,
That
feeling.
Did you have the same midwife throughout your pregnancy?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. She used to understand that, okay, I'm an asylum seeker. There are things that sometimes I'll open up to her. She will understand. She will refer me to here and here and here. When I had problems with my accommodation, she will sort out. She will just pick up the phone, find time. I think her kindness kept me sane.
Leeds is beautiful in terms of the depth of cultures and the depth of different people.
I love it. I love to see different cultures and I just think it's always seen as a heated subject rather than just enjoying what it is.
My mum, she's actually Ghanaian, so we had loads of conversations as to her maternity experience. From my perspective, just knowing like some of the things that she went through compared to mine, had real personalised care. I think like, you know, I had a really lovely experience.
Feeling safe is so important, and for me that was about having a voice and feeling like I had those choices. I'd had lots of discussions with lots of different professionals and felt that I was supported and that I was offered support throughout the whole journey, you know, from finding out when I was pregnant right through to the very end. It's never going to be a one-size-fits-all, is it? And I think just giving people those choices to make sure that everybody gets a really personalised experience. We're all unique.
My mentor always said, one, kindness don't have language, kindness don't have colors, kindness don't have country.